the searchers I seek, the wisdom that they speak, the lessons that they teach, just a searcher like.
Hello there once again, fellow peregrinos. Welcome to El Camino de Santiago, Pilgrim's podcast, where we talk about planning, preparation and packing for walking the road to Santiago, as well as tips, tricks and hacks to make your journey along the way the best, the most enjoyable, the most amazing of your life. And on the line in this episode, we have Linda Yeomans, who has walked the Camino Frances from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port all the way to Santiago de Compostela last year, July 2019. So Linda, we always like to begin the podcast by asking our guests to please take us back to the exact time and place, the moment. What was the weather like? What could you hear? What could you smell? Tell us the story of when you first decided to walk the Camino, when you made that bold decision.
Okay, well, that was 8 years ago, sitting in a pub in Balbroughton in the Midlands. I don't know if you know it. Sitting with friends and a chap called Luca, who comes from Orense in Spain. Was telling us about the Camino, and we all decided, 6 of us, that would be a great adventure. But unfortunately, out of the 6 of us, there was only me that made it 8 years later. And I was sitting on a spin bike at the gym, talking to my friend last January 2019, talking to my friend who's a young man, 27. And we were talking about the Camino, and he said, "Do you want to go for it?" So we did. We booked our flights and we planned things together. We went shopping together, etc. And that's how it became a realisation.
So you found a Camino buddy?
Yes, I did, yes.
What a great idea. For those who have maybe... Right, I've got a couple of questions I'm going to try and delve into here. The first thing is, it was 8 years in the making.
Yeah.
First question is, why did it take you out 8 years? The second question I've got is, sorry to continue there when I know you're going to speak. The second question is, for those who maybe first thought about walking the Camino a long time ago, how should they keep it on the horizon for themselves as a goal they, like a bucket list item, a once in a lifetime thing they're going to do? How did you do it, and how would you recommend they do it as well?
What kept me interested for 8 years was the fact that it's such a spiritual adventure. It's a sense of self-achievement and the scenery. I read a lot about it. I've got a friend who comes from Orense, as I say, on that side of Spain, and he sold it to me as well. I would just say to people, just go for it. It took me a long time with confidence because I didn't have at that time a Camino buddy. I had people who said yes, they would like to do it, but my motivation clearly was greater than theirs. So I pursued it when somebody who had the same motivation as me last year and did it. But I was a bit dubious about doing it on my own. I think that's why I waited so long. But it wouldn't stop me now. If I could do it this year or next year, minus COVID, of course, I would do it by myself. It's really safe and it's just so organised.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, the infrastructure of the Camino Frances especially is phenomenal, and there's places to stay dotted all along the way, so you don't have to do long days if you don't want to. And what I took from what you said was you kind of kept motivated by, you kept it in your consciousness by reading about it, so that would have kept it alive in your mind. And the final push for you was finding that Camino buddy. So had your Camino buddy already heard of it before?
Yes, he's got family who live near Alicante. So he'd heard of it that way and read about it himself, and knew somebody that wanted to do it as well, although I don't think that person did. But yeah, we were both really, really, going for it. We were really up for it, and then we made it happen. So, and it was a dream come true for me because, as I say, I'd for 8 years I'd had it in the back of my mind. I wanted to do that, and that was what I wanted to do. That was the adventure for me. That was the trip for me, and yeah, I've done it.
You can
great.
say you've done it. You've got the Compostela framed on the wall.
I've got the shell, I've got the certificate, I've got the shoes. I bought my shoes back and I've had them framed. They're falling apart. So yeah, I've got all the paraphernalia, all the artifacts, and it's just amazing.
Sounds like you've got your own little Camino museum at home there.
I have, a little shrine to myself.
We all have, to be honest with you, Linda. We all have.
Yeah.
I've got the hoodie, the t-shirt, the cap, the wristband. You name it. There's always something Camino going on, so I can identify with that for sure. Now, you said in that little opening chat there that you'd go back this year if you could. You go back next year if you could.
Yeah.
COVID permitting. And so imagine, let's just dream for a moment. This COVID inconvenience is now lifted. It's gone. It's in the past, and we're all drinking a beer together and planning our next Camino. And I'm going to be your Camino buddy. And Linda, so tell me, what would be the first 3 things you tell me to put in my backpack? Because you're the experienced. Imagine you're the experienced one, and I'm the novice.
Do you know? I found that difficult to answer because there was just a couple of items that I didn't use. I found
3
that really
things
difficult.
You couldn't do without, for sure. 3 things you couldn't do without.
Yeah, well, I couldn't do without my deodorant. That was an essential, maybe. My soaps, but you can buy all that. That's just not, to me, it's just not. If you forget it or you don't pack
But let's get technical. What kind of deodorant is it going to be? It's got to be small, isn't it? How do you manage that?
I bought little roll-ons because they're easy to pack. Yeah,
good stuff.
I only bought one, and then when you run out, you just buy another because that's what you can do along the Camino. It's not. You haven't got to worry about packing everything because you can buy things as you go along if you need them. But you've got to keep your bag light because it does get heavy.
Of course. So you got your roll-on deodorant, which keeps you feeling fresh and smelling fresh. What else?
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you know? I really, really. Oh, maybe I bought 3 tubes of the ibuprofen cream for your feet.
Right. Okay.
So that's like it relieves the aches and the pains of your feet.
Anti-inflammatory qualities, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And paracetamol.
Yeah.
Those 3 things.
Okay. All right. So, and like you said, if you run out along the way, you can always buy more. So you don't need to take lots of each thing. So your paracetamol, your ibuprofen, and your little roll-on deodorant. Now, that sounds like it was a recipe for success because you made it all the way from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to Santiago, and you did it in how many days was that?
30
days, like we said in the pre-interview chat. So you were going great guns there, Linda. So your recipe obviously works, and I wonder if you'd ever done anything like this before, like long-distance hiking day after day?
No, I didn't. I'm a keen cyclist. I'm not a professional by no means. I could put the miles in on a bike. And as I say, the motivation of the stories from Luca, my friend Luca, just inspired me. So I did take up walking, and I did a few walks in the Lake District up north in England, beautiful part of the world. And I did a coast to coast with my friend prior to the walk. I did a canal walk of 20 miles.
Okay, coast to coast, from which coast from where to where?
It was coast to coast from Robin Hood's Bay. I can't remember the start, sorry. It's up north. It's across the Lake District.
Wow.
So it's quite mountainous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get to St Robin Hood's Bay. I think it was 119 miles.
Oh, wow. So you actually got a few miles in your boots before you went.
Absolutely. I got a few miles in.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Brilliant. Now, lots of people, I know I certainly did this. I made a few mistakes at the start, continue to make mistakes all the way through to the end, to be honest with you. But can you remember a mistake that or let's say something you'd do differently were you to go and do the Camino again?
Yeah, I'd take a smaller bag because I did listen to friends that had done the Camino, and they said 30 litres is your maximum. Well, I took 40, and I did carry it minus 3 days. So I took 40 litres, even though I didn't fill it. So definitely a smaller bag. There is no need for a 40-litre bag.
So you think a 30-litre bag would suffice?
30 litre, yeah. And then on the first day, up that Pyrenees mountain, down to Roncesvalles, that was actually I was quite dreading that walk because it's a 1,500-metre climb, but it wasn't as bad as people write about. I know it's people's opinions and their experiences, and I'm 60 next month, so I was 59 when this happened, or 58. So I didn't find it that challenging. I think most people with a reasonably amount of fitness could do that, definitely. So the next day...
And I think the moral of that story, Linda, as well, from what I've heard, is maybe you didn't find it challenging because you actually did a fair bit of training before you went, so you were ready, you were road ready when you first set foot in the Camino.
You can't come from the couch to a walk. You've got to train for it. You've got to prepare for it. Absolutely, 100%. But you don't need to be super fit. You don't need to be an athlete, or But it is a challenge, yes. But it's not as bad as some people make it. But that depends on their fitness levels. So.
Of course it does, yeah.
And
their strengths and weaknesses, because if some people have got dodgy knees or some ailment that they're worried about, then that may be an extreme starting point. So it could be an idea to start in somewhere like Pamplona or Roncesvalles. But even from Roncesvalles to Pamplona is very, very up and down, though it's not. They're not really.
That was surprising, actually.
They're not big climbs, but there's just a lot of up and down, and after the mountainous day before, it can be quite taxing on that. So, I think so. So, all right. Yeah. So let's have a look at and talk about your foot care. Do you have any foot care routines?
I was very fortunate. I never got one blister. My friend did, but I didn't. I didn't get any blisters at all. I was very specific with the shoes I bought, and I didn't.
Which shoes did you buy? Which ones worked for you? And why did you choose them?
I can't remember the make, but it was a shoe. It was not a boot. I do not recommend a boot, not at all. With the boot, you do get the ankle support. But to be honest, I don't think you need that because the terrain is not too treacherous, apart from coming down on your first day from Roncesvalles. Excuse me, I'm just going to turn the oven off.
Don't worry about that. We don't want the place burning down.
And then I would take paracetamol at the same time as applying the cream. When we stop for a coffee, take your shoes off, take your socks off, apply the cream. And at the end of your walks as well, a couple of times I've soaked my feet in cold water. That's refreshing and helpful. But no, my routine was we'd walk and we'd start really early in the morning before the heat of the day, and then we'd get to,
Like how early? How early would you get out the door?
It would depend on
More or
how many
less.
miles we were planning to do, but I mean, we've started out as early as 5 o'clock in the morning, but most days it would be round about seven.
Yeah.
7 o'clock, yeah. So before the heat of the day. And then what I would say is you would get to your destination, your next stage then, by 1, 2 o'clock, sometimes earlier. Then you've got all afternoon to meet with friends, eat, have a drink, socialise. Those were the best parts of the day.
The best, like you said, the best place to do that is at the albergues or the hotels or wherever you stayed along the way.
Absolutely,
Now,
yeah.
I know you've stayed in probably 30 odd places, so 30 nights you were on the Camino, but I'm going to ask you to choose your number one out of all of those 30 places. I know I'm putting you on the spot, and this is always a difficult question to answer, but I could certainly choose my one out of my how many nights on the Camino. So what's yours?
Yeah, I mean, I did write down, I think I've got about 3, but I'm going to choose one out of that. And that was, it was called the Albergue Essentia, and it was in Calamayor in the Redesili del Camino.
Redessia del Camino, right.
Camino, yeah. And it's not one that's particularly popular. It hasn't got a website or anything, I don't think, anyway. But the gentleman, he was just so welcoming. It was a beautiful home. It was his home. He made us so welcome. He cooked for us. He sat and dined with us. He told us stories about him and his life. He sang for us. He played guitar and piano for us.
Wow.
Yeah, and we had a drink with him. And to me, that was my most favourite moment. It was just amazing. And as I say, the albergue was spotlessly clean. And we had it all to ourselves, actually.
Right, so that's the Albergue Essentia, and that's spelled Essentia.
Correct.
Essentia, Redessia del Camino. I will put links to these in the show notes, and I will put a link to the show notes on the Facebook page so everyone can go and see them. Okay, so Albert, sorry, did you say the guy's name?
I just know his name was, how do you say it? Jose?
Right, and what did he sing? Yeah. What did he sing to you? Just a La Bamba or that mixture of stuff?
Do you know, I can't remember what he sang, but he played his piano, he sang, and he played his guitar in his broken English.
Oh, beautiful. Very charming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds 100%. Sounds like an enchanting place.
And that was on the way to Burgos. Yeah. So in between, it was on the way to Burgos.
Good stuff. Like I said, stick notes to that. I'll put a link to where the notes will be on our Facebook page, which is Camino de Santiago Pilgrims podcast. Thanks for that recommendation, Linda. So everyone talks about their favourite towns, cities and villages along the way. Was there one that stood out for you? Perhaps a hidden gem, maybe a detour, something you found?
Do you know, I can tell you what I didn't like more so than, not so much didn't like, but I wasn't a fan, and that was Leon. I didn't like Leon, but everywhere else was amazing. But I did particularly like a little ancient village called Valtue de Arriba. Valtue de Arriba.
Okay, Valtue de Arriba. Why did you like that?
For the architecture, the buildings, the ancient buildings made of stone, and do they call it adobe? Adobe.
The Adobe houses.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. What an amazing little village that was. Yeah. I liked Fonsabaden, Ponferrada, Pamplona. Oh, just all of it, all of it.
You liked it, or was just Leon didn't really tickle your fancy?
No, no. The reason I didn't like Leon was it was a bit like being at home. I ordered a gin and tonic and I had to take out a mortgage for it.
Right.
So, yeah, and I had my walking poles stolen, but that didn't worry me because I didn't get on with walking poles anyway. So
yeah.
that would be something that I would really consider, and I would practice. If you've not used them before, practice before going on a long walk. I did not get on with them at all.
With the walking poles.
Yeah, didn't get on with them.
I think it's interesting when you get to Leon as well, because you've been in the Meseta for the best part of a week, and you're used to the wilderness and watching the barley fields sway, and you come across shepherds and their sheep, and you're feeling really nice and really relaxed, and all of a sudden,
with the bells,
that's it. The church is just springing up like children's fold-out books on the horizon. The church towers, you just like, this is beautiful. And then you get to Leon after that, a big city, and it does rough you up a little bit. It does take a little bit. It does take a little bit of getting used to. So there's one thing just to be aware of. I think you will have adjusted to being in the back of beyond, and all of a sudden it's into the big metropolis again, and it's not always enjoyable. I'm like you, I didn't actually enjoy being back in the big city after that, so I can understand why. And the other places you mentioned there were Fonsabaden, which in Shirley MacLaine's book she called that the abandoned village of the wild dogs. Shirley MacLaine wrote a book called The Camino. If you haven't read it, it might be up your street, because it's a very spiritual. It's very spiritually centered, and that was one of the attractions for you, like you said, spiritual adventure. And she talks about it being the abandoned village of the wild dogs. I can honestly say I didn't come across one wild dog there, thank God. But I did certainly get my fears running about what could happen in there. So yeah, lots of places. Ponferrada, where you've got the Knights Templar Castle as well. That's really worth setting aside. The best part of a day, I think.
I think Fonsabaden, that was one of my favourite meals there. I had lentil broth. Yeah, lentil broth with you get a carafe of wine, you get a dessert, you get bread with it, and it was all for and a room, all for €12.
It's very cosmopolitan for a Brummie, Linda.
Yeah, and that's a funny story about being a Brummie as well. On the very first day,
go on.
The very first day walking up that relentless climb, that it was quite a hot day as well.
Yeah.
My friend and I were chatting away. We were talking about school, because he was a chemistry teacher and I'm a teaching assistant. And we were talking away, and then there was a young man that we walked past, and he said, "Oh my God, I never thought I'd hear a couple of Brummies on the Camino." It was a young lad, also a chemistry teacher from Yorkshire. So that was quite a funny moment at the time. Oh dear, that was so funny. And that was on the very first day.
So a little bit of regional banter ensued.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Well, you can't have a Yorkshireman making fun of people from Birmingham, can you? So I don't know how us English people understand each other half the time, or the different accents we've got. But
I know.
I've just moved up to Bolton, where what I used to think was called a book is called a book.
Oh, a book.
And I thought my hair, but it's now called my apparently. But I don't know.
I know.
Every day's a school day up here. I tell you, every day's a school day. Okay, so you did mention a little bit about some food there as well. So can you remember a specific restaurant, cafe, bar where the food kind of pampered your palate?
Yeah, definitely. That's called the Moderna. Let me see. Yeah, Cafe Moderno, Moderno, and that was in Logroño.
Great recommendation there. Cafe Maderno.
Yeah.
Maderno. Why did that stick in the memory?
It was very busy. So if it's busy, it's good. It was
When you say busy, you mean busy with locals?
it was busy with locals. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
that's always a
very it
telltale
was a
sign. Yeah.
yeah. It was a family-oriented business. It was run by a family, and it went back. I can't give the exact date, but it went back many, many years through the family.
Right.
So yeah, great restaurant, great little cafe,
That's
lovely.
always a good sign as well. I remember those places
Yeah,
in Barcelona when I used to live there, and the there was hot chocolate cafes that have been open since the late 1800s, and restaurants as well that have been open just as long, and they were always packed with locals. So if they've lasted that long, then let's hope TripAdvisor's not going to come along and close them down, eh? But right, okay,
yeah.
so Cafe Moderno in Logroño,
Moderno,
MOD.
MODERNO.
Apologies, MOD,
Yes,
Moderno. Okay,
MOD. Yes,
Cafe
Logroño.
Moderno. I'll look that up and put a link to that on
Yeah,
the Facebook page, Camino de Santiago Pilgrims Podcast. Okay, I'm going to run through some quick fire, some Camino quickies now.
yeah.
And if you've got an answer, great. If not, just say pass and we'll get on to the next one.
Okay,
So, favourite Camino blog or book?
pass.
Pass, there you go. I'm going to stick in that for those who are spiritually minded, The Camino by Shirley MacLaine. And for those that like a bit of a light-hearted travel memoir, mine's called The Only Way is West. So there you go, a couple of recommendations there.
Oh, lovely. I shall take that recommendation.
Thank you very much. Favourite Camino forum or Facebook group?
I don't do Facebook.
Wise decision. It's a
Yeah,
circus. Don't worry about it. You're not missing anything. But for those that
yeah.
do like a bit of the pantomime, I'm going to recommend Camino Planning. Heather Knight-Writer is the admin. It's a great group. So for those looking for a Facebook group, have you got a favourite vlog or film about the Camino?
I can't give you an exact website, but if you go on YouTube, there is absolutely lots and lots of YouTube programs regarding the Camino.
Right, so YouTube's a good
and
resource,
personal
yeah.
experiences. Yeah.
Is there any specific personality you follow on there, or you just kind of browse and get kind of sent down a YouTube rabbit hole?
No, I just literally browse. There was an Australian man. I can't remember his name,
Right.
because I just watched lots of bits of things. There was an Australian guy. He was quite interesting.
Right.
Yeah, he was quite interesting. He started off. He was quite a hefty man, and by the end of it, he'd lost quite a lot of weight. So
Right.
that was a good result for him, I would think. But yeah, it's just YouTube. There's stacks of stuff on there. Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay. You mentioned already about lentil soup. Anything else? Any other your favourite food or drink on the Camino?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of red wine. You get a carafe most times. You don't get a glass. You get a carafe or a bottle, and it's pennies and it's lovely. So I'm a red wine drinker. So yeah, lentil broth, that was delicious. And then I had green beans and bacon in Villafranca del Bierzo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, delicious. I tried to make it at home. It tasted okay, but it didn't taste like Villafranca green beans and bacon.
It's tough competition to beat Villafranca's
Yes.
cuisine, definitely. But
Yeah.
okay, so try the green beans and bacon when you're in Villafranca del
Yeah.
Bierzo. One thing you wished you'd packed.
I'm going to have to pass on that because I think I went quite prepared. So
Right,
no.
so yeah, and you were prepared by the sounds of it because you walked all those miles. So the moral of that story is definitely train before you go and
Yeah.
be road ready. I know that my wife and I wished we'd packed some Ziploc bags, which sounds silly, but we could put our kind of sandwiches and packed lunch that we make along the way. So those things really, really do come in handy. Multiple uses can also be used for ice as well if you get any swelling or
Yeah.
anything like that. So yeah,
I used the Ziploc bags for carrying, like your bathroom equipment, your soaps and your
good idea, yeah.
toothpaste, and stuff like that. So I used them for that. I didn't take packed lunches because cafes along the way are in abundance and they're so cheap, and you know, as you say, that's your opportunity to stop, have a coffee, and meet other pilgrims.
Yeah, that's true.
It's lovely. Yeah,
That's very,
yeah,
very true.
yeah,
So for you, was there one thing you didn't need and wouldn't take again?
yeah. I bought some walking sandals.
Right.
I don't recommend them, and I went in the hottest months, and there were some very, very hot days, and there were some cold days as well. I wouldn't take sandals because they're not very I didn't find them very comfortable, and you get grit in your feet, and so definitely I would say no to sandals.
And when you finished
Definitely.
walking at the end of the day, what did you keep your boots on or
No flip-flops.
flip flops? Okay, put the
Yeah,
same here. That's what I always carry, a pair of
yeah,
flip flops for when I finish
yeah,
walking at the end of the day.
yeah. Flip-flops for comfort, flip-flops for coolness, and flip-flops for the shower. Yeah,
Sounds like the next YouTube craze.
and then I
Flip
did
flops,
take
comfort. Yep.
a blow-up pillow. Absolutely not necessary at all.
Ah, it's funny you say that because I took my blow up pillow on my last Camino and I thought, I'm really glad I've got this.
Really?
Yeah, I found it really, really comes in handy because sometimes the pillows you get in the albergs, they're they can be like just laying on one feather kind of thing. So
Yeah, yeah.
um,
But I took a microfiber. It weighed ounces. Microfiber sleeping bag.
right,
Yeah. So the top of the sleeping bag fitted over a pillow. So then you're looking at the hygiene side of it.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah. And then if you did need to prop it up, you've always got an extra blanket on the bed that you just tucked under So I didn't I've still got it in the packaging now in my drawer, was the
Right.
pillow. I didn't
Maybe
need
next time I'm
to.
driving past the Midlands, I'll pass by and give you a tenner for it or something. I'll pick it up, take it off your hands.
Oh, it didn't. Yeah, tenner would be good. Yeah, I could buy a couple for that, actually.
So the microfiber sleeping bag, and
Yeah,
definitely getting a sleeping bag with a hood is a really, really, really good idea.
good idea.
Because
Absolutely.
that's a really
Yeah,
good point. Because I
yeah,
mean, like you say, you don't know how many heads have been on those pillows. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely in this age
And
of
what I will say
high
as well
hygiene is
is
really important.
when I went, which was July to August, it was hot. And what I would like to say there is, I don't know if you would agree, those months, the pilgrims are predominantly younger, whereas the older pilgrims tend to go September or earlier because it's cooler.
Mm,
And what I would say is, if you do go later, this is what I've been told by older people that have been in September and October, is you may need to sleep on a church floor because it's so busy. That's minus COVID, of course.
mm.
But we never found that problem. We would walk from one stage to another, and there was just no problem with finding anywhere to sleep, because that was a worry of mine before I went. And I would like to say to anyone that is going to embark on this amazing journey, don't worry about sleeping arrangements, because there are albergues in abundance, and there's fantastic albergues. I've even had a room of my own on the Camino.
I mean that's really, really true for the Camino Frances.
Yeah,
Most of the time you won't be wanting for somewhere to stay.
yeah,
So, but I think on other caminos, like I don't know, the
yeah,
Portuguese between Lisbon and Porto, I think it may be an idea to research as well for the accommodation provisions along the way you're going. But for the Camino Frances, totally agree with you there, Linda. That is really,
yeah,
really well served, and
yeah,
you don't always have to walk so far to get to find somewhere to stay, and that's a really big advantage of walking the Camino Frances as well.
yeah.
Now, maybe a guilty pleasure that you carried with you.
My mascara.
Okay, just to feel a little bit glam Camino.
Yes, because I look dreadful without it. So no, it was just a little luxury that I just like to have in my bag that made me feel glamorous.
Why not? It's your Camino, your way, and that's
Yeah,
what it's all about.
yeah.
So, I wanted to, like I said
Then you
before
wake up.
on this
Yeah,
podcast, it is a great experience. I mean, you said yourself it was, a dream come true,
yeah, yeah,
and but not every day is always perfect and easy. Can you think back to a time which was your hardest moment on the Camino? And
yeah,
maybe at the
yeah,
time when you felt down, or physically or
yeah.
mentally or both, and how did you get through it, and how would you advise others to get through those tough moments?
Um, I would say that the toughest part of the Camino is on my Camino, the Camino de Frances, is definitely the Meseta.
Right.
Um, it's quite challenging on your mind. Um,
Do you tell the listeners why that is?
it's because it's just fields and fields of gold. As beautiful it is, and the colours that are around you, it's just that for, I think, is it something like 240 kilometres
Yes,
every
around
day?
200 kilometres, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, every day. And at the time that I went, it was hot. So I got through it with my Apple Music on my phone.
What was your
I'd be,
choice of music, Linda? This is
oh,
always an important choice.
I have a very eclectic mix. I like lots and lots of different genres of music.
What
Um,
would be your go-to? You think, right, I need some music to get me going now. What would it be?
it would be something very fast, something very rocky, something quite.
Come on, be more
Um,
specific. We need a band, we need an artist song.
right.
You can
What's it
sing it to us
called?
if you want.
No, no, no,
No,
no.
okay, just
No,
checking.
you wouldn't
Didn't
want
want to
me
be
to do
rude and not let you do
that.
that.
I think it's called Ramble Tamble by Credence. I can't think of the band.
Clearwater Revival.
That's it. Yes,
Ramble
yeah.
Tamble.
Ramble Tamble, and you go for it. Yeah, because you're walking along to the beat of the music.
Ramble is actually another word for walking, isn't it? So
Absolutely,
it's very
yes.
fitting.
Yeah, very fitting. So, so music got me through that. Um, And that was quite solitary as well, because sometimes my Camino buddy would like to walk on ahead of me.
Right.
So, you were on your own. And if you were on your own, that was tough. In the Meseta, and not anywhere else, but the Meseta was quite tough mentally.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you'd advise maybe if you think that you need a bit of company through that, something
Yeah,
to take your
company.
mind off the drudgery of just putting one foot in front of the other for mile after mile after mile, day after day. Then a bit of music and ramble tamble will help you out.
Yeah, definitely music. Singing along, singing out loud. You got your earphones in,
So
singing
you
out
do have a
loud,
bit of a sing song.
getting rid of that pent up. I can't wait to be the end of this day today,
In
and
many
just
ways, yeah, it's a diversion tactic as well because it just takes your
absolutely,
mind off of feeling sorry for yourself and onto something more positive.
yeah,
And I just like to, for those that are get one an idea of what the Mercedes is like, and if they've never heard of it, I'm just going to read very quickly from my book, chapter 18. Between the cities of Burgos and Leon, a vast arid plateau of wheat and barley fields more fit for camels than humans, stretched out for almost 200 kilometres.
yeah.
And it says
You've got it
just
right, yeah,
yeah, it says mercury threatening to hit the 40s, limited water sources, scarce shade. This merciless no man's land, known as the Meseta, seemed a dreadful prospect to most pilgrims. So stick a bit of music on, and you'll get through it. That's what it's all about. But
yeah,
I actually kind of enjoyed the solitude a little bit. I enjoyed. It is hard. It is hard. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
it's bittersweet in a way, isn't it? Because you've got
yeah.
a lot of time to think, which isn't always a good thing, but just so much peace out there as well. If you can find that peace in your mind, then you certainly find it in your
Yeah,
exterior circumstances as well. So carry a bit of music maybe for the Maseta if you feel
absolutely.
that would help you. Okay, now this is the point in the podcast where I always ask our guests to share a standout memory. It could be an inspiring, quirky moment or character, an encounter that embodies everything that's good about the Camino, something that you'll never forget and you'll maybe tell people forever when you talk about the Camino.
Well, for me, um, the whole experience was memorable. You just, even the Maseta that was challenging, the whole experience was memorable. And I would do it again tomorrow. I really would. But you can't take away that feeling when you get to Santiago, you see in the distance, and you get to that square, you get to that cathedral, and you see, and I can't explain the feeling. It's just incredible. I mean, I had seen it before, but I cheated. I flew to Santiago de Compostela with friends.
Was that was before you done the Camino, right?
Yeah.
So was it just to
Before
check it out
Camino.
kind of thing, or?
No, it was the guy who comes from Arents. Is a friend of my friend's husband, and they they still own and still needs doing up, still needs a lot of work doing to it. So we all went over to see this property basically. So we went to Santiago de Compostela. It's just, it's the camaraderie, it's the happiness, I, I just can't explain. It's just the most amazing feeling seeing that church. It's just it just engulfs you with happiness.
So
It's
that
just
moment
amazing.
was the crowning glory, actually, the end, coming into
Oh,
Santiago and
absolutely.
seeing the towers of the cathedral in the
Yeah.
distance.
And to say that, seeing that building is amazing, but when you get to that square and you see that building, you think, I've just walked 500 miles.
Mm.
That sense of self-achievement, that sense of adventure that you've just achieved it, in 30 days. It's an amazing feeling.
Okay, imagine I'm a
But
lone, I'm a lone female traveller. I know, like you said yourself, you were a bit scared about doing it on your own, and I
yeah,
know for a fact I've had messages from pilgrims, from potential pilgrims that want to walk it.
yeah,
So, what would you say to them in terms of safety and ways to keep safe? And is it safe? Did you feel safe? You'd
absolutely.
recommend doing it?
Yeah. I, if I could have those pilgrims that want to do it by themselves and they're a little bit dubious in this room now, I would say, don't. Don't fear it at all. It's really safe. It's organised. And everybody looks out for you anyway. You meet friends along the way. You meet people along the way. It is the most safest thing you could do by yourself. I feel safer walking the Camino than going down the bottom of my road and catching a bus. So, and that's not an exaggeration because there are so many people doing. This is on the Camino. There are so many people doing the same thing. We all look out for each other. We're all pursuing the same thing.
Brilliant. It
It
couldn't
is,
have, I love the way you said that. You felt safer on the Camino than you did walking out to catch a bus on your street. So
yeah,
says it all there, doesn't it, really? And you said you were going to go,
yeah.
you wanted to go for a spiritual adventure. Did you feel like you got that?
I did. I mean, people said to me, it will change you. I didn't feel it at the time, and it took me a long time after to feel it. It's now that I can see the change in myself. I appreciate life more. I appreciate people more. I appreciate what can you say? I don't like being stressed. I don't try not to worry too much about things that are really not important. Things that are important are people, family, animals, life. Um, so, and being outside has just, since I've come back from the Camino, I've just walked miles and miles and miles and discovered where I live. So that has changed me.
So it's refocused you.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice, and I think that's what we're all looking for when we go on the Camino. We are looking for a way to a new lens through which we can look at life, and it sounds like it's given you that. And just before we say buen camino to each other, a special mention for your Camino buddy, maybe a hello.
yes, Jack. His name was
Right.
Jack. Yeah, yeah. We don't see too much of each other now because we were gym buddies at the time, and hopefully he'll listen in. And I definitely know that my friend Zara, who lives in New York,
Ah, you met Sarah.
I did, yes.
Ah, right.
And that's how I found the link to the podcast.
Right,
Through
okay. Oh,
Sarah.
so you're
Yeah.
part of that big Camino group.
Yes.
Good stuff. To Chris, with Andy, with Zara, with Mikhail. Brilliant.
Yeah. I don't know if Leslie was mentioned on that. There was Leslie. I met a lovely German couple actually. They melted my heart. They were an amazing. They were an elderly couple. They just melted my heart. They were just so spiritual, so calm, so peaceful. If that's what you're looking for, you'll find it on the Camino. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember on the last day of our Portuguese Camino, my wife and I, we bumped into a couple that had walked from Cologne in Germany and were celebrating 25 years married. And they looked, just so bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. They looked so fresh. They had smiles beaming from ear to ear. And you wouldn't think they'd been walking for, I don't know how many days they'd been on the road, but they'd walked for a long time and come a long way. And they definitely had that Camino buzz about them. And it sounds like we're bringing that buzz back right now, relighting that Camino consciousness again. So you said you would go back tomorrow if you could, and next year if you can.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll all be able to get back there.
I'd like to do a different Camino.
Yeah, which one would you like to do?
I'd like to do the is it the Camino de Norte?
The North Camino del Norte, yeah.
Because a lot of the walk is on the coast on that one, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to do that one. But any Camino really, because I just loved it so much, and I will do it. I will one day do it. But my only regret with the Camino that I did last year was not doing the Finisterre. I didn't walk the Finisterre, so maybe next time.
Well, you can always go along the Del Norte and then carry on to Finisterre from there, can't you? And I've done the road to Finisterre, and it is spectacular. It's quite long and tough at times, but it's really, really, really worth it. Yeah. And when you see the ocean kind of bubbling with excitement.
I had a friend meet me. You see,
right?
A friend came out to meet me at the end of my walk, so I finished on, I think it was on the Tuesday, and he flew out on the Wednesday.
Right.
And so it didn't, I didn't finish I didn't do the Finisterre.
Right.
But I did hire a bike and do some of it on bike.
Right. Okay.
So
that sounds like a nice hybrid Camino, a little bit on foot and
absolutely.
a little bit on bike, on BC. So yeah, good idea. Well, whether it's the Camino del Norte, the Camino Finisterre, or both mixed together on foot or on bike or both, I want to wish you buen camino, ultrea, which means move forward with courage. Thank you so much, Linda.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me.